What's up, everybody? Welcome to the CanesInSight Daily Podcast, powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. It's Wednesday, so listen, we've done the sad song. We'll still probably continue to do some sad songs here. We got a lot of guests coming up in the rest of the week. So we're not totally done with lamenting what happened at SMU and kind of where the season is right now versus where we thought it would be 3 weeks ago. But it's time to refocus, man. We got Syracuse coming up. We got a chance to go 1-0, hopefully go 4-0, and then let the chips fall where they may. We'll talk about the playoff rankings, which just came out. I also have some recruiting updates, which I will be dropping later in the show. So a lot to talk about. Some folks that you don't got to worry about. That's Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. If you or someone you care about has been injured in an accident, you could be entitled to significant compensation. Dial 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733. Take back control of your life with Anajar and Levine. And before I pop in our guest, want to talk about some people that are used to elite performance like we want to see from the Canes on Saturday, and that is University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute, UHealth. If you consider yourself an athlete or just an active guy like myself, as you see, didn't bother to change from the gym this morning, look like a bum, but that's part of working out in the morning. You probably know how hard it is to sit on the injured list with pain or injury. Maybe you didn't try to hack your own rehab. But if compromising your movement or performance is not an option, call the experts at the University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute. Whether it's elite competition with Miami Hurricanes athletics or everyday movement, the University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute is the trusted choice for those who demand excellence. Set an appointment today at uhealthsports.com. All right. OrchidMan, hop in. How we doing?
Morning, D. How we doing?
Yes, great, man. I'm used to Pete hopping in after a loss. We're usually pretty gloomy. And Pete, we'll talk to Pete, and we'll get the show with Mike Ryan here in later in the afternoon. But you're popping in with a big smile, got a fresh tan. You got the plants behind you, not quite OrchidMan, quality plants, but a nice setup you got there. You had some time. You were at Dallas, right? You're up. Yeah. You're out. So before we get into, and me and you were both positive guys, right? We're kind of in the mindset of it's time to move on and focus on winning on Saturday and getting better and trying to make this season what we thought it could be. But I know you were struggling because you were texting me.
Yeah.
The whole experience out there in Dallas.
It's good. I mean, listen, I spent some time on the field and, pregame, and I was able to really see what was going on. I found the team to be focused. I found them to be ready. It's an unfortunate game. So many things that we could have done better. At the end of the day, we really can't afford to let referees dictate a game. But at the end of the day, listen, it falls on all of us. It falls on the team, falls on the coaches, it falls on administration and boosters and everybody else that just weren't able to get to the finish line, unfortunately. And now is not a time really to be sulking on the negatives. Let's focus on what we have in front of us and see what we can forge through for the next 4 games, and you never know.
And it's interesting, we all agree the calls were bad, but I've been in communication with folks in the building, as have you, and at least as I spoke to people this morning, I did not hear the word penalty calls or referees once. What I heard was disappointment, a sense that, hey, we know that we have failed to this point in the season as far as our goals, right? The goal was to be 8-0, certainly after that start. And they know, and it's a tone of nothing anyone's saying outside is really that unfair. This is the result of what we're putting out on the field. Now it's time to change that narrative and go out there and play at a higher level. So I was very encouraged by kind of what I'm hearing talking to people in the building, because I've been talking to coaches for multiple regimes, and sometimes you get excuses. Sometimes you get people already looking at other jobs. I mean, I've seen some nasty stuff when adversity hits, and the vibe I got was more, yeah, they're talking about our penalties. Our penalties are by far the number one problem. Our offense isn't playing well enough. We're not doing well enough on short yardage. We should not be 6-2 right now, and we got to get better. That's the vibe I'm getting from people, and I was encouraged to hear. I felt better after those conversations, just knowing that that's the attitude. What are you getting without revealing secrets or anything, but just,
I
what do you
can't,
think to people in the building? Just the vibe.
I can't disagree with you. I mean, listen, this staff is not a staff to make excuses. Mario and Dennis and all those guys are no bullshit kind of people. There's no excuses to be made. At the end of the day, if we play hurricane football, we would have won that game handily. And I think at the end of the day, we need to start looking at ourselves and start analyzing why is it that we're not getting over that hump. And getting over that hump, D, isn't easy, man. You have 20 years here of pretty much mediocrity, and to forge through to the other side takes a lot of courage, takes a lot of work, takes a lot of resources. So, I think Mario, I'm not going to change my position on Mario. Like I told a friend of mine on Sunday, we're 3.5 years into a 10-year, commitment that we have made, that the University of Miami has made to Mario and to this, to the staff. And I think now is not the time to be anything but positive, and to continue to forge and invest in our program and invest in our football team. And I get it. Listen, I'm ultimately I'm a fan as well, and don't think that it doesn't hurt and it doesn't sting when we fail, and when you look at our roster, and we don't get over that hump, because man, I look at our team, and you really wonder, how can we fall short when our roster is that much more superior than SMU? I was on the field the entire game. We towered over those guys. Towered them. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's scheme. I don't know if it's just lack of preparation, which I don't think it is. But there's just something that continuously holds us back, and it frustrates me as much as it frustrates you, and it frustrates everybody out there. I mean, listen, a lot of resources have been spent, a lot of commitments have been made, and I get all that, but we're just 3.5 years of this commitment, and it takes a long time to build a sustainable winner. I spent a lot of time thinking this weekend about Mark Richt, because when Mark Richt came here, in 15, 16, 17, we were starting to get that. We were starting to get that mojo. We were starting to get that momentum, where we were on the precipice of starting to become a sustainable winner. And in year 3 and year 4, the fan base started with the offense. I know that Rick was sick, and that played a part into it as well. But what I'm trying to say is, negativity today isn't going to get us anywhere. We are in year 3 of year 3.5 of Mario. Mario's going to be here for 10 years. The university has made that commitment, and it's in our best interest as a fan base and as boosters and as administration to continue to support that staff and get us to be a sustainable winner.
Yeah, and look, I think a lot of people are listening to that and they're hearing, it's not going to be 10 years if we move backwards, right? We move forwards. We got to keep moving forward. So I think really the emphasis this week, just talking to people, is again moving forward and got to finish. We got to go 1-0 this week, and you got to finish 4-0, man. I think everybody knows that. There's a clear understanding. I saw a comment here I want to get to. Double J said Mario pushed back when asked about losing to lesser talented teams and said SMU has as much talent as Miami. That was a quote that Barry Jackson put out there that I bet 99.9% of the people who read the quote didn't see the full interview, and they're just kind of reacting to it. Mm-hmm. It was just coach speak
Yeah.
101. I promise you, I talked to people as early as this morning. Everybody knows and accepts that Miami had more talent. And
It's
people in the building,
it's
Miami had
100%
better
coach
talent
speak.
than we do.
Listen, if you listen to Mario's, weekly press conference, when they played Bethune-Cookman, he'll come up with something that's about as talented a team as we played this week. It's always the same gibberish, as it relates to the opponent. Um, I think in private, even he will have to admit that our roster is superior to the majority of the teams that we've played this year. Where is it that we're falling short? And listen, you have a business, I have a business. At the end of the day, we're held responsible for each of our businesses. And there's plenty of times in my life and in my daily routine and in my monthly routine where you have to look at yourself and find out where it is that you're falling short, right? And if you don't make those adjustments in life, in game, in the games, in practice, it goes across the board. If you don't self-reflect, and if you don't change or make adjustments, then we have other issues that we need to address. But I think Mario will adjust, and he will make it. He'll self-reflect.
Yeah, and also Dave Scott, our boy, appreciate you always supporting the show. He says, "Speak the truth. Don't worry about your contacts in the building." Where's Pete? He's on fire today. Pete will be on the later afternoon show, so he'll be spitting. I don't worry about the contacts in the building. I'll tell you a couple things. My contacts in the building are saying we have failed to this point.
There's no doubt.
3 words: we have failed. Now, they also recognize that the season's not over. But to this point, we have failed. This is verbatim. It was off record, but I'm putting it on record because I think this message needs to be out there. It's the truth. They know that they have failed. I didn't get, hey, we're 6-2. We would have been 4-4 a couple of years ago. None of that. We should be 8-0 or 7-1, or we should be clearly controlling our own destiny in the ACC and the playoffs at this point. And we're not. So it goes without saying. I think now, really, to me, and we like I said, this is an open forum. So we got a lot of different people on the show. Obviously, OrchidMan, if you don't know, ORCHID man, you could tell, very plugged in with the program, a guy that puts his heart and soul into this program and contributes and really puts his money where his mouth is and puts his heart there. And it's all real, as you can see that's why people are always texting me, when's OrchidMan coming back on? That's why we get that response. But look, we have people venting in the chat. We got people venting on the show. We try to give everybody a voice here. But I think the message from me is, I know, OrchidMan knows, and most importantly, people in the building know that 6-2 at this point of the season, and the 2 losses, there were double-digit favorite losses, is a failure to this point. What this particular episode, I think, I wanted to focus on is, all right, what now? What now? We've had enough crying. We've had enough complaining about it. No coach is getting fired here on November 5th. I don't think any coach should get fired right now on November 5th. I think it's about what needs to happen going forward. And you mentioned self-reflection, and I think getting into some specifics, obviously the penalties, put that at the top of the chart. I think the penalties, we're 134th right now, I believe, in penalties per game. It is abysmal, is embarrassing. It's worse than Manny, and penalties were horrible under Manny. And I think the penalties there's other problems on the team, but the penalties are making every single problem significantly worse. So you were there. So just being out there and seeing the 12 penalties, I mean, how did that just impact the flow of the game, the body language? I mean, we see it on TV, but I know when you're there and you see those flags flying, it's like a different vibe.
Those pre-snap penalties, and you're so right. It was painful to watch Manny those years with the penalties. They were killers. I wish I understood the consistent pre-snap penalty issues that we're having, because I was on the field. It wasn't even loud. Like, there was 32,000 people. Miami had probably 10,000 fans there. I don't comprehend it. I don't know if it's the center. I don't know. I don't know if they're trying to, I don't know if they're trying to change plays on the line, but I mean, it just, that part is beyond frustrating. The light foot defensive, the penalty on Lightfoot was unfortunate. That really should not have been a call, because I saw that up close. You couldn't even hear that whistle. But it's the pre-snap penalties. It's the offense. The offense seems a little stagnated, and I really don't know if who's really calling the plays there. I saw where Alex now is the run game coordinator, and they added that layer into the mix. And I don't know if that's causing some sort of mismatch in being able to call plays efficiently. I'm not even sure about that.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, everybody knows it's a problem and it's still happening. So talk about self-reflection. I know that's a big one. Is it cadence? I mean, there's a lot of things you look at.
It's a lot of things.
But it is what it is. And I can tell you, here's what I'll say, is that when Mario came in, and you heard it in the press. I don't think I'm saying anything that's out of turn, but you saw it in the press when Mario was talked about the team he was inheriting. He goes, look how many penalties we commit. This is taking over for Manny. I'm talking about, we're in the hundreds in penalties every year under Manny. He didn't say those exact words, but the implication was, look, 2019, 2020, 2021, every year we were in the hundreds in penalties. That has to change. And in fact, this year, as we sit, there's still some time left in the season, but as we sit, this would be the worst year in penalties, I think, ever for the University of Miami, at least as long as I've been looking, let's say 20 years. So that is something they have to face and be accountable for, and they are. How do you fix it? I don't know. I wish I did. I'm sure they wish they did. They're working on it. I think one thing, OrchidMan, I want to ask you about this that could be fixed very quickly is our short yardage game. I think our personnel's taken a little bit of a step back in terms of our interior line just not playing as well as they played 23, 24. But beyond that, teams know what we're doing on short yardage. And short yardage is an opportunity to make big plays or to be creative. We saw that against Texas A&M a couple of years ago with Jacoby George on the goal line, getting him wide open with a creative play. Remember when the Virginia Tech game, you had Elijah Arroyo going down the field on a 3rd and 1 wide open. There's opportunities to make explosive plays or just make effective plays on short yardage when teams are already committed to stopping your straight ahead run game. What do you see with the play calling on short yardage? Can that be an area perhaps where Miami can really
I think, look, especially the last 2 years, as the season, from the beginning of the season, as we get more tape of ourselves out there, we become easier to play against. And we become a little bit too predictable, and we're not giving enough wrinkles on a week-to-week basis. I don't know why that is. To me, we have plenty of talent. I mean, you have Malachi, who used to be a quarterback. You've got playmakers that can change a game. I don't know why we tend to be so predictable as the season continues. And I think that's the biggest frustration as a fan and as everybody else is that it's easier said than done, right? There's other factors involved that nobody knows except the people in the building, right? But it does seem from afar that we should be able to adjust a little bit quicker, a little bit easier. If I can see it and you can see it and every fan can see it, Why isn't that we're not adjusting? Why are we hitting the A gap over and over and over and over again? If it's 31, why be the predictable A gap? No, why not extend the play with an Elijah Lofton down the seam? Why can't we do an end around with Malachi Tony on a 3rd and 1? There's things that are frankly frustrating. I'm with I'm with everybody, but I can't answer. I don't know. Yeah.
Marquez Williams, draft pick of the Jacksonville Jaguars, great fullback for the Miami Hurricanes. Man, I wish we had you on short yardage. That'd make things a lot easier having a fullback like Marquez Williams on short yardage. But he says facts, not enough wrinkles week to week, too many weapons to be predictable. So
it is. That goes back to the self-reflection, right? People need to maybe Mario needs to just let go of the offense a little bit. Give Shannon a little bit more leeway, like he does on Heatherman on defense, because he doesn't get too involved in the defensive side of the ball, and that seems to be working out well this year. Yes, we have playmakers. Playmakers make it happen, obviously, but I think there's enough talent on the offensive side of the ball to be able to give Shannon a little bit more leeway to run his offense the way he wants it.
And glad you're on. 'Cause I want to talk about some of these guys, and people see the team and they see like a Jordan Lyle struggling, and definitely see an Elijah Lofton struggling. And I think sometimes they wonder, why are we force feeding these guys when they had not done anything in the games? You were there in spring. You were there in fall, especially spring, because I know Lofton was already banged up in the fall. But, man, these were guys that we thought were going to be like the guys for this offense. And I think their inability to get going, either for schematic reasons, we're not using them right. In Lofton's case, I think there's some injury. I think there's some conditioning stuff going on. A lot of injury stuff and conditioning stuff. But in terms of you were there, this is, to me, one of the issues with the offense is that we thought, and we'll throw JoJo Trader in the mix. So I think JoJo, you're going to see him continue to rise. Coming out of spring, and I take all the heat for it because I was hyping Lofton up like a maniac, and he's been really a negative this year. So I put the blame on, you can get mad at me, but you were there just like I was watching it. I mean, we thought coming out of spring, Lyle, Lofton, and Trader were going to be the guys, and we have not been able to get those guys going. I think that's had a big impact on the offense.
Lyle obviously got hurt. I think you're going to see with Fletcher out now. You're going to see Lyle get some more reps, and I'll venture to say that he'll get better over the next couple of weeks. I think the issue with Lofton is he's kind of a tweener. He's not really a prototypical tight end. So you have to put him in space where he can make plays, but he's not going to really extend the field because doesn't have the speed. As you mentioned, he is a little heavy. He got hit on that play at the goal line. It was a legit hit, but he should have made that play.
Yeah,
and those at the end of the day, coaches can put you only in a position to make a play. And he had a moment to make a play. He didn't make it. JoJo Trader, everybody sees it. Everybody's anxious because everybody knows the talent that kid has. You could see where he has that moment of brilliance, but he had a chance to make a play and he didn't make the play. And that turned that game, from going into SMU territory, they turned around and scored it 2 plays later. So at the end of the day, the kids have to make the plays, and it's not that they don't want to. They just have to get in a position to make them. That's it.
And I'm being a little defensive here just because I don't want CanesInSight community to think that I'm a crazy person when they watch this guy play on Saturdays. But you were there. I mean, coming out of spring, I made a statement. I go, I think Lofton might be our best offensive player, just pure player with the running, with the blocking, with the catching. And people said I was crazy. Now they've seen him play and they think I'm twice as crazy. But that was kind of like a very common opinion inside the building in spring. And it's just, that's gone away. I mean, am I wrong on that? You were there. You talked to people.
Mario has really liked the kid since he got here on campus last year. I mean, he's been talking Lofton up for a long time. For example, last year they used him as running back.
Yeah.
They haven't used him as a running back this year.
Yeah.
Is it because he's not in shape? Maybe.
I think his shoulders hurt too. You see his blocking.
How can you not be in shape? We've been in football mode since June down here. So it can't be that he's not in shape. It's just a matter that he's not creating space. He's not in a position to make a play. And then when he's in a position to make a play, he dropped the ball.
I want to ask you about a guy that I'm excited about because I know you've seen him play in spring. We've all seen him play in mop-up duty, or not in spring, sorry. You've seen him play in camp, and I'm excited about him. And I've heard people talk about it in the comments, and I want to get your thoughts because you've seen him. I know the parents, great people, great family. Watch practice with them. Gerard Pringle at running back, I think, is an exciting name. And I think with Fletcher being out, you mentioned Lyle getting more carries than he will. But I think we're going to see a little more Pringle. And based on what you've seen from Pringle, I mean, is that a guy that you think might add some juice to an offense that really, really needs it?
Yeah. Yeah. I think, like Shannon Dawson said in his press conference this week, there's enough depth on this team that the next guy has to step up. And, you're looking at a roster that has playmakers up and down it. So if Fletcher, unfortunately, is going to be gone for a couple of weeks, then the next guy has to step up. And if it's somebody like Pringle's a perfect person to step up because he's going to be hungry. He's a freshman. He wants to break through. And we need people, we need kids with some passion and juice. And I think I don't know, man. I don't know if it's this NIL era or whatnot, but I want to see more fire, man. I really want to see, some fire. And I think overall we're too cool. We're too laid back. And I want to see some fire in these kids.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like you said earlier, and I agree with what you said right at the top. I don't think they didn't play hard, right? This is not, we've seen over the course of the years, 20 years, what not playing hard and getting blown out and laying down looks like with the Miami Hurricanes, unfortunately. I don't think that's been a problem really here as far as like not playing hard at any point. Maybe overtime, those were pretty demoralized in this last game. But overall, I think there's been a team that's competed pretty hard, even when it's not gone well. To me, what I'd like to see is just some like excitement, right? And you're getting to kind of what you're getting to, which is like, seeing a young guy pop a big play, where there's a JoJo Trader having a really big game on Saturday, right? And then now he's a guy, or a Pringle, or some just sort of creative play pops a big play. I thought we'd see that against Stanford. It didn't really happen until maybe later in the game, but that was more of a defensive special teams kind of game. Like, I think this offense just needs to see some excitement and some juice and some new energy to really finish strong, because right now it does not look like an offense that's having a lot of fun. It looks like an offense that's just trying to avoid mistakes and then making a lot of mistakes and getting frustrated.
Yeah, the harder you try, the worse it gets sometimes. And that's another comment that I made to a very good friend of mine on Sunday. It's like, it's almost like we're trying too hard, man. And people in that building, and when I say people, I'm talking about Mario, Alex, Dennis. They want it so bad for the university. They want it so bad for the fan base. How bad they want it. Nobody wants it more than those people. And sometimes it's almost like you have to take a step back and take a day, take 6 hours, take 12 hours, go to dinner, relax, come back a little bit more refreshed, because the more pressure you put on yourself, sometimes the more shit hits the fan, and that's not where we want to. It's not where we want to be. Man.
Yeah, and it'd be cool if, like, obviously it's a negative, right? What's everything that's happened, but it'd be nice if the losses and the people counting us out after counting us in maybe makes us play loose, right? Maybe makes us play with a little more freedom, less like we're trying to not to lose, and more, hey, we don't have anything to lose. Let's win. Let's play. So I think that was a.
This is a fact. This is a fact. This is a fact. Before the season started, the national media shitted on the Hurricanes. We beat Notre Dame. We beat Florida. We did what we did because we have the talent to be there. Those same people started blowing smoke up our ass. Right? And we believed it. As soon as we lose, guess where those guys are at? They're right back. We cannot get caught up in the national media crap. Even our fan base. They wanna crap on us at the beginning. We're the best, and now we're the worst. We were never the best, and we were never the worst. We're a program on the up. We won 10 games last year. We're gonna win 10 games this year. And this is a program on the up and up, year in, year out. At the end of the day, one team is gonna win. Only one fan base is gonna be happy. Everybody else's fan base is gonna be upset or find reasons to be upset. We need to support our team. We need to support our university, and we need to continue to help and be beacons of hope and of support. Period in the story.
At the end of the day, we're not firing anybody. We're not hiring anybody, is what I always say. So there's not much we can do other than try to get better players in here, and that's it. Really, I mean, what else can we do? Although, of course, listen, that's what CanesInsight's for. You guys have an open mic to vent, and I get it, man. Trust me. I'm not the venting type, but I've definitely been moping around, just walking on the beach.
Oh, we're all upset. We're all upset. I mean, listen, this is, I saw Peter and Steve Kim at halftime, and we were talking about it, and Steve sent that email after the game. I mean, that tweet after the game, which was a very good tweet, by the way. It made a lot of sense. And we were talking about it before he sent that tweet out, and he's right. At the end of the day, we're playing down in a lot of ways to our competition instead of putting our feet on their throat and dictating the game. And it's I get it. I understand. I see it. I get frustrated. You get frustrated. The fan base gets frustrated. I get all of that. And we got to find a way to get over that hump.
It's a lot of comments here, Orchid Man, before I let you go, about your guy, our guy, my guy, Noah Perez. Got a little controversy after the game, and the chat's saying we got to address Noah Perez. As Canes Cat Heat 305 says, we got to talk about Noah Perez. I think Noah had a frustrated tweet at the staff after the game. I think how old is he? 17. He's learning the Canes fan lifestyle that we've unfortunately lived for the past 20 years.
I haven't heard that. Tell me. Give me info. I haven't.
Well, you didn't know? Oh, he was a very frustrated tweet at the staff, maybe calling for some significant changes, very significant changes. And then he got a lot of attention for it. Big Noah. I saw, obviously he's still in board. I saw you guys at the Canes basketball game, but I was laughing. He's learning number one, what it is to be a Hurricane fan, where this happens, and 20 years of it, it's hard. And then I think he's learning what it is to be in the public, because everybody's like, no, man, what's going on? He was fired up. The Canes Cat says, young buck, emotional.
That would, you got to chalk that one up to being, a 17-year-old punk. That's for sure.
But listen, man, before we let you go, and I want to talk about OrchidMan, ORCHID man. Before we get out of here, by the way, do you get the reference when we do it every show? It's from a
Yes.
Hall & Oates song and a Wu-Tang song. I don't know which one's your era. I don't want to date you too bad. I think you tell me. Did you get it from Hall & Oates or did you get it from Wu-Tang?
No, I'm not gonna lie. I think I like Hall & Oates better.
Big fan of both for sure. I am. But anyways, so before we talk about OrchidMan, just before you get out of here, we've lamented, we've cried, probably still will cry. What's your message? And what are you feeling as we move on to Syracuse?
Listen, we have 4 weeks left, right? At the end of the year, most people's had us at 11-1, 10-2. The fact of the matter is that that's still on the table, and I think now, it's on to Syracuse. It's focus on Syracuse, and then let's let the chips fall where they may. This is not going to be an easy run, but I think the talent is there, and I think the chances of a 10-2 season and listen, we all know how crazy this college football season, forget this year, is every year, and there's going to be plenty of movement, and we are only five. There's 5 weeks, but there's 6 spots that we need to move up, and I'm not resigned to the fact that we may still sneak in, and if we sneak in, look, I always say football is kind of funny. You can't peak too soon. You can't fall, but you can't fall too soon. You just got to build. And right now the focus should be 1-0 on Syracuse, and that's it.
I know who's going 1-0 every week, and that is OrchidMan Florida, ORCHID man, Florida's landscape artisans. We see in the chat, people are like, man, I'm seeing these OM trucks all over my neighborhood. OrchidMan must be legit. The word was already out, but now the word with Cane fans is out, and they're seeing those trucks everywhere. For those of us, this is commercial landscaping, residential. Anyone who has landscaping needs, there's a lot to it. It's not just you order something on Amazon, it comes in. This is a process and a living organism that is maintained over time. What's your message to people as far as they want to have that beautiful landscape either for their business or their home? And what can OrchidMan Florida provide that's going to make their lives easier?
So we're a full service landscaping company. We have our own irrigation team, tree trimming teams, installation teams, maintenance teams. So we're a full service landscaping firm. We provide, primarily high end service, but we also do a lot of commercial work and a lot of construction installation work. So we do a lot of larger projects around the Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach area. We've been in business now for 17 years, and I always say, Dennis, I don't feel like I work a day in my life. I really enjoy what I do, and I'm here to help and support anybody who needs some landscape work or just regular ground maintenance work.
So hit him up, OrchidMan Florida, ORCHID man Florida.com. OrchidMan, appreciate you, man, for everything you do for the program.
All right, we'll talk. See each other Saturday.
Yes, sir. Be good.
Go Canes.
Go Canes. My guy, the OrchidMan. Feeling better now. I'm feeling the positive energy starting to flow back after a long moping period. Maybe that'll go when we talk to Lance Roffers and to Steve Kidd and everybody, and they really break down kind of the disaster. Maybe it'll leave me again, but I'm starting to feel a little more optimistic. Let's go 1-0 here. A lot of recruiting stuff I want to get to as we talk about kind of what's next with recruiting. A lot to get to. I will drop a fresh episode of The Bank right here shortly. Let me pull up some clips of some very high-profile visitors this weekend and guys that are going to be very, very important. We'll talk about adding to this class. But first, I want to talk about some folks that are already committed and have been committed for 40 plus years. And that is Islas Canarias Cuban Express, #1 Cuban restaurant on planet Earth, right there in the Dayland Mall Dining Pavilion. You see it, established 1977. That's the year Star Wars came out, the first one, for some reference to how long these guys have been doing it. 7 different types of croquetas, all kinds of sandwiches, grab and goes with the cubaritos. You got loaded tostones, loaded fries, soups. What you see here is a mix of all the classics prepared like they were 80 years ago, right? But highest quality ingredients. And then you got new stuff, right? New twist on Cuban flavors, just to keep it, for those who want something new, they get something new. For those who want the old stuff like their grandma used to make, they got that here at Islas Canarias Cuban Express. You got the bakery, so you don't have to just get a huge meal. You can grab, a pastelito, you can grab tequeño, you can grab empanada, nice grab and go when you hit the subway or the road. Just quick for a quick snack in your workday. Dayland Mall Dining Pavilion, located right in the heart of the city of Miami. You got the drinks. Of course, you want the coffee. You always hear Cubans talk about that colada gets you riled up. Nothing is more powerful. They got that. They got the shakes, all kinds of different stuff. These Cuban juice treats that you really only get in a place like Islas Canarias, Batido de Mamey, and all that. That is a Cuban specialty. You got that there at Islas Canarias Express, and that is right there in the heart of Dayland Mall in the dining pavilion. All right, so let's talk about recruiting. Obviously, when the team stalls, recruiting loses some momentum. Good news is I don't see like a disastrous situation with recruiting, but we're rolling and be good heading into this week, and it's taking a little bit of a step back, so you don't love that. But I think we're still pretty much in the same place. So let's break it down as far as where we're at in recruiting at this point, Wednesday, November 5th. Quarterback, we know Darion Coleman. He's the quarterback of this class. Nothing changed there. He is the quarterback here. Javion Mallory having a pretty good senior year. Solid, rock solid player out of West Boca, 4-star player committed to Miami. Alabama made a push. He's staying put as of now, and nothing I've heard to change that. Focus in the running back room. I think if you look at your senior years, who is the running back who has made the most been the most productive, made the biggest strides, showed the best all-around game, and that would be Amari Latimer, the running back. I'll just pull up his tweet here because these stats are like out of this world. Amari Latimer, major Miami ties through the Latimer family. This is a 230-pound back that catches touchdowns. I mean, look at these. Let me just pull up these stats. You could just see what I'm talking about here with the young running back from Georgia, Wisconsin commit, visited recently. 169 carries, 1,745 yards, 33 touchdowns, 10.3 yards per carry, 16 receptions and good receptions. These are not like dump offs. These are like down the field, contorting body receptions, 252 yards, 3 touchdowns, single game school record for rushing touchdowns, single game school record for rushing yards, all-time school record for career rushing yards, 5,102. And then, look at this dude. This is as big and as physical of a back as you're going to get. So Amari Latimer, I think, is the name to watch. Miami's still recruiting Derek Cooper, but I really think when you look at senior years and just the trajectory of these guys, Amari Latimer, I think, is somebody who Miami is making a strong push for, and they would love to add him to the class. He is a big time player and a major priority. Wide receiver, Vance Spafford, committed, the receiver from Orange County, California. Speedster, the verified 4.35, has battled some injuries as a senior, but nothing that's going to, it didn't tear his ACL or Achilles or anything like that. Nothing that's going to impact his ability to play at Miami. He is visiting this weekend, and I expect him to be a Cane. Big time player, a big time recruit there. We talked about some more in Wingo, unbelievable senior year up in St. Augustine. He's committed. And then the recent commit from Milan Paris, who we talked about first on the bank on CanesInSight podcast. You were the first to hear about Miami's interest, momentum with him, put him on commit watch, I think, really early. He said he'll visit, and I think he'll probably commit. He visited, he committed, and now he is a Miami Hurricane, ascendant player, even as a 4-star player. So Miami's doing well receivers. My personal opinion, as I watched this, we're pretty much towards the end of the high school season down here. I still think, and I feel even stronger about this after this senior year, the best football player in South Florida is Jason Lopez out of Chaminade, FSU commit. Also a very good basketball player, Division I caliber, and will have a chance to play Division I basketball. Every week, man, he's been the best player on the field in every game, and they're playing top competition. So I think Cooper and Calvin Russell, high upside guys. Diabell injured. But if you just look at who is the best player on the field in South Florida, the best player is Jason Lopez. And that's my opinion. But I think if you look at the film, you look at the stats, you look at the level of competition, that's the truth. Now, monitoring him, there's a lot of love for him in Miami, but he's committed to FSU. We'll see how that goes. This is maybe now me personally talking. I want that one to happen, man. I think it will regret not getting him if we don't get him. He's just a special player, special athlete as a 2-sport star. Tight end, Izzy Briggs committed, having a great senior year. Gavin Mueller, probably one of my favorite new names on the scene from Chicago. Big. He visited a couple weeks ago. Big, fast, athletic tight end. Plays wildcat quarterback, big-time basketball player. Newer to the position of tight end, but showing extreme stuff on his senior film. I think he's going to be a big riser ranking-wise. That's what we've heard some buzz that he's going to just fly up the rankings, and just in terms of how teams view him, how Miami views him, how the film is, big-time target. Also still recruiting Luke Brewerhard, Iowa tight end who reclassified to 2026. Miami's been out to visit him. So those are the names to know at tight end. Offensive line, pretty much still the names. Defensive line. So I want to start here because there's a visitor this weekend and a guy that was committed to Penn State, basketball player, football player, really talented guy, and that is Isaac Chukwura, the defensive lineman out of the Delaware area near Philadelphia. This dude he was committed to Penn State. Obviously, the Franklin thing has kind of thrown that for a loop. But watch this dude explode off the ball. You see him standing up. There's a defensive tackle prospect. Penn State, those of you familiar with the Penn State program under James Franklin, they produce elite defensive players every single year. Freaks, guys that tear up the combine, that go first, second round. You wonder, where are they getting these guys? Are these guys all 5 stars? And they're not. Penn State's probably been the best evaluating program, in my opinion, under Franklin of the past 5 years, 10 years. They've just been getting guys that overperform and then go to the NFL and go in the first round. I think defensive front 7 particularly is where they thrive. And this guy is the latest example. Legit 6'3", legit 260. You see how quick he gets off the ball, the athleticism. He is someone that Miami really, really likes. Again, a Penn State decommit. He is visiting this weekend for the game. And Miami, I asked, would Miami take Chuck if XYZ commit? And the answer is, yeah, absolutely. We would take this guy no matter what. This guy's an unbelievable player and obviously plays a position at defensive tackle that you need to stack. So as you watch this film, I think this is a guy, we'll see how this visit goes, but I think he's someone that has a very good chance of being in this class. I think he's somebody that Canes fans should be excited about us being in the mix for. And he's not like, hey, we might not get XYZ, you're bringing in this guy. That's not even the case. We're going to push like crazy to get these big-time defensive linemen, and we hope to get this guy also because he's another really, really good defensive lineman. So he's in the mix. You see him here. Logan Nagel, Pittsburgh commit from the New Jersey area, kind of the North New Jersey, right there by New York. He visited for the USF game. Big, long, kind of reminds me of Matt Walters, not just because he's a white guy, just a tall, lean, athletic kind of guy playing at defensive tackle. He's someone the staff really, really likes. And again, Miami would take Nagel, they would take Chuck, and then they still go after, and they continue to go after these big-time names, your Bryce Perry-Wrights, your Lamar Browns, your Nolan Wilsons. All those guys remain big-time targets. Tank Jones, these are guys Miami's continuing to recruit and prioritize. So these other names are not, and I want to emphasize this, these are not names in lieu of, these are names in addition to, and I think Miami just wants to get as many big athletic stars as they can get. Obviously got that huge commit from Keyshawn Stansel, kind of came out of nowhere, but they were just chipping away at the Clemson commit, ultimately got it done. I think that's a huge addition, and you're going to see them continue to try to add players of that ilk. One name I want to kind of focus Canes fans on because this is a guy that I think is really, really outstanding. LSU commit from the Orlando area. Obviously, LSU in total disarray, and everybody's coming after, or a lot of teams are coming after this guy, is DeAnthony Lafayette. 6'1", 235, obviously not the biggest guy in the world, pass rusher out of Orlando. But you're wondering, why are teams like LSU and Miami so hot after a 6'1" defensive end? And I think you watch the film and you look at the production, you figure it out pretty quick. This guy is extremely productive, super athletic. You see him play tailback, and he's running he could probably play college football as a tailback. And then you see him coming off the edge, I mean, look at this guy's change of direction. His lateral quickness, I'm not trying to exaggerate. This guy's lateral quickness is as good as I've seen at a defensive end. Now, obviously, he's a shorter defensive end, so it's a little easier to move laterally when you're not 6'6". But man, this guy's, look at that. I mean, this guy is a running back playing defensive end and playing it at a highly productive level. I think this is someone that the staff is just enamored by and would love to add. Drake Quinn, another one who visited earlier this month from Atlanta, Georgia. He still remains a big factor. I mentioned Tank Jones, Nolan Wilson. I mentioned, although he's probably more of a defensive tackle. Shari Charles committed, but man, I think if Miami could add DeAnthony Lafayette while also adding a Drake Quinn from Atlanta, they would feel extremely excited about this defensive end group. But yeah, this guy is unbelievable. Randy Ellison says the only pass rusher that has a jump cut. Lafayette is a monster. Kevin Dennis liked this comparison. Says think Elvis Dumerville, 6 foot stud from Miami Jackson, ended up going to Louisville. Miami didn't recruit him. One of the best pass rushers in the NFL for many years. Look at the power, knocking the right tackle off balance and making the sack. Obviously, at this size, you're not expecting this guy to have a ton of power, but when you're that quick, guys have to deal with that, and then you can catch him off balance. So you see him play middle linebacker, making the tackle. I'm telling you guys, there's a reason why LSU went to Orlando to get this kid. This guy is a special, special player. Unique, but special. Look at R. Mason Thomas at Oklahoma. The impact he's making is pretty much a pass rusher only. I think this is what you're talking about here. So you get a Chuck Wura. I hope I'm not butchering the name, from Delaware, Pennsylvania area. You add a guy like this. You add a Logan Nagel, right? A big, long, high motor pass rusher that can run a little bit. And then you big game hunt with the Nolan Wilsons, with the Tank Jones, Bryce Perrites. I think this defensive line class, especially after the Stansel edition, is really trending in the positive direction. But yeah, this guy is, if you're this size, you got to be unique. And I think when you watch this film, you see why. I'm going to pull up later probably his running back film, because he is just completely dominating and looking really, really good. Let me cut this out because I want to watch his running back film that just happened this past week, because he is just a super talent, man. Orlando area has been very good for the Miami Hurricanes. You think of last year, you got Max Buchanan from that area. You got 2 offensive linemen from that area, obviously committed to the team this year. You had Darion Coleman, but this Lafayette, okay, here we go. Let me show you what this guy looks like as a tailback. For those who are wondering what I was talking about, here we go. Let's look at this guy as a tailback as we continue to raid that Orlando area, which I think is an open area with Florida down, with some of the teams that typically operate in that area down. Florida State, UCF is not landing big-time kids at the moment. They're not playing very good football at the moment. This is an open area, and I think an area that Miami could do more damage in. But here, let's take a look at Lafayette. He's your tailback here. So let's look at this guy. This is your defensive end leading the country in sacks at his division. Look at this guy. Woo! So, yeah, man, I'm excited to see Lafayette the rest of the season. I hope Miami can get that one done, because I think he's going to be a big-time player. Linebacker, I think J.J. Edwards, really the only name you're really hearing about a ton. Speaking of Orlando Edgewater linebacker, really, really having an outstanding senior year. Guy that tested off the charts. He was a Rutgers commit, tested off the charts, started rising in 247 because they saw the film. Ivans loved the film and he's from Orlando, so we've seen him in person at 247. And then the testing numbers were crazy in that 4.6, 4.5 range, running and jumping and doing all those things at a 99 percentile level. Need to put on some weight. He has grown, but a guy that can cover, rush, do a lot of things. J.J. Edwards, big-time prospect, committed, and that's the linebacker right now. Jordan Campbell, probably more of an edge, the way he's developing, the Northwestern linebacker, who he's like a borderline edge linebacker, but I think edge is where he's been playing, and edge is probably where he's going to end up. Safety, the names that we've been focusing on is Blake Stewart. We talked about him. He got a bunch of crystal balls to Miami. I don't think it's that far along where you say he is coming to the University of Miami, but I think Miami has some momentum. Obviously, you lose a little bit of momentum, but it's not, these things go back and forth. I think Blake Stewart's very much open for business and being recruited by some really, really good teams. He has a high character, high grades, great family kind of kid. You just got to keep working, man. Keep working, keep showing why Miami is the best option for him. And I think Miami knows how good he is, and he is an extreme priority. We've talked about J.J. Dunnigan, the 4-star player who recently decommitted from Kansas. Dad went to Kansas State. He's from that area. Recently decommitted. This is a guy that played in the Army All-America game as a junior. He's a 4-star player, having a great senior year. So he's not like some sort of sleeper from Kansas just because he's committed. He was committed there. This guy was a big-time player, is a big-time player. Miami been working that one. He's already said he's going to visit here coming up. So keep an eye on that name. Defensive back, I think, you continue to work your own commits. It's not a great year for corner. So I think that might be something where you kind of stick with the guys you have, maybe try to develop a Jabari Antoine and then develop the guys you have as opposed to going over the moon for a corner in this class. I just don't think there's that many guys in the picture at corner to add, just as far as like guys with a ton of talent. JJ Conyers, somebody who Rutgers commit, they're talking to. There's a few guys, but ultimately I think the defensive back room, the focus is Blake Stewart, right there at the top, and JJ Dunnigan, a guy I would really, really love to add. So that's kind of where we're at recruiting, man. I think the area to watch as far as movement is going to be the defensive line room. I think that what you see committed now is going to look a lot different than what it looks like on signing day. And I think if things go the way I hope they will go, and I expect them to go, I think it'll change for the better. So defensive line, tight end, who's that second tight end, getting Amari Latimer done at running back. These are some of the things that you're, of course, Blake Stewart and Dunnigan at safety. Those are we're zeroing in our focus now, and that's really, to me, where it goes. Randy Ellison asking, no Justice Fitzpatrick. Anything can happen, but I think Blake Stewart is the name to really focus on when you talk about the safety position, and then JJ Dunnigan as well. So that's what I'm hearing, man, as far as recruiting. And then portal's going to be rocking and rolling as always. So finishing strong, man, going 5-0 and getting this thing done. Again, appreciate everybody joining us here. Don't forget, we got a great event coming up at the Miami Hurricane team store. Basketball plays on Thursday against Bethune-Cookman team that took Auburn to overtime. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I enjoyed seeing this team play on Monday. Physical team, guys that could really do a lot of things. Didn't play great, but played well enough to win. And then they're certainly more physical and intense than they were last year. Bigger size team as well. Harry Rothwell, Mr. Canes legend at Miami Hurricane team store, says he will be he's thrilled to welcome Coach Jay Lucas to the store November 7th. That's Friday. So today's Wednesday. Friday, November 7th, 5 to 6 p.m. right there across the street from the University of Miami, right off US 1 South Dixie Highway, next to the Thesis Hotel. Meet and greet with Jay Lucas. They'll have basketballs to sign, mini, full size. So you get in now. There's going to be a long, hopefully productive road with Jay Lucas taking this program to the top of the ACC. And if you want to meet him, a great guy, personable, say hi at the Miami Hurricane team store, November 7th, 5 to 6 p.m. Get your mini and full-size basketballs. The Miami Hurricane team store, Friday, November 7th, 5 to 6 p.m. If you want to buy something, promo code INSIGHT20, both in-store and online at MiamiHGS.com. That'll get you 20% off your first item. All right, let's see what's going on here. K-Max says, it's easy to nitpick JoJo and Lockdown not making the play. At the same time, whole offensive line is underperforming. Top players getting penalties. 61 talk about him costing us. You're right, K-Mac. I thought this would be the best offensive line in the country, and it hasn't been. It has not been. They've been the biggest culprit with the penalties. The run blocking has not been as good. And yes, there's a lot of guys in the box. There's other issues. The run blocking, isolate that, has not been good enough. And then pass blocking, I think they have been elite. And I think we're probably the best pass blocking offensive line in the country. That's a good thing, right? Good place to start. But, you want to complete. If you want to say we're the Joe Moore Award, we're the best offensive line in the country, you have to pass block, you have to run block, and you have to avoid stupid penalties. And I think we got 1 out of 3. Now, that 1 out of 3 is elite. To me, the best in the country at the pass blocking part, run blocking, everything else needs to improve. Lisa Snow, I hear you. She'll support Miami, win or lose. Just tired of being disappointed every year. You and me both, Lisa. It was a tough weekend. I was taking long walks on the beach by myself. Like I was like putting in like classical music and just walking on the beach at night while my son had baseball practice. So I was like, what's wrong with me? I'm acting like someone died out here, but it was, you did kind of free your mind a little bit. And we're refocusing. We are refocusing because the truth is, and I've seen this is true for in the building. This is true for the fan base. You go out there and you play a good game of football. You limit the penalties. You improve on certain areas that you were weak. A guy like JoJo goes out there and balls. Jordan Lyle or Gerard Pringle or both break big runs. Maybe you call a play that you hadn't seen all year and you get excited. There needs to be excitement in the building, and I think it'll turn around, or excitement in the team, around the team, on the field, caused by that Syracuse performance, and the vibes will start to increase. The energy will pick up. Fans are still going to be disappointed. No one wants to be here 2 losses, 6-2. But I think this Saturday, against a team that ranks in the hundreds in every relevant category, go out there, let it rip, have fun, execute, make some big plays. And I think we'll all have a lot of fun there. We'll be at the Lickin' before the game, so everybody wants to get out there. Me and P will be doing a normal show at the Lickin' right there, Miami Gardens. Go there, park, enjoy some food, and then get easy access to the Canes game, beat the traffic. Scroopy saying, and we're talking about this, the college football playoff. We'll talk about the college football playoff a little more with the show with Mike Ryan, which is going to be on at 2:30. I believe that's where we're trending right now. We'll talk to Mike and do the show in studio at 2:30. We'll give you the latest on the time, but I think this one it will be with Pete as well. And we'll talk more about the college football playoff. Scroopy says the CFP committee is already showing that they value Notre Dame more than Miami. Hard pill to swallow. I guess this is how FSU felt when they got snubbed. I could be wrong, but I've looked at all the permutations. A lot of these teams are going to lose. I think the message that the committee is sending to Miami, and you heard the spokesperson for the committee say, look, we want to see more consistency from Miami down the stretch. And I think what that means is they're expecting us to choke like we always choke for the last 20 years. And if we actually go 4-0 with all the other teams losing and all the other things happening, they're going to sit there and they're going to say, Miami's 10-2. They just won 4 games. They're clearly one of the 12 best teams in terms of their talent and their ability to perform. We saw that Notre Dame, saw against Florida. They will not keep a team like that out. There will only be one other bid in the ACC, the champion. I don't see 2 ACC bids that doesn't include Miami as a 10-2 Miami. It will work itself out. I've gone through all the permutations. I'll go through it with Mike too, more on the detail on the show. All that matters, first of all, going 1-0, obviously. And then as a fan, we could say this, going 4-0. If I'm a betting person, if I'm being, worried about anything, I'm worried about the 4-0. So I've seen these November losses. They come in bunches. We're not playing very good football right now. I'm petrified of going 4-0. I lose sleep about our ability to go 4-0. If we go 4-0, I'm sleeping like a baby because I think we'll be in the playoff. As Sadan Long says, teams that finish strong get in the playoff. I agree. And I think the College Football Playoff Committee, the national media, our fans, and look, I feel these feelings too. It's like you don't expect this team to go 4-0 because we've seen so many November flops and they're playing poorly right now. So I get it. I don't push back on it. It's got to happen. And the only way it's going to happen is by going 1-0 this weekend and putting on a good show against Syracuse in front of the home crowd and really getting the energy turning. Because like Cloudfleet says, we got to beat Syracuse first. And that's what's going on. So again, appreciate everybody tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the show. Remember, we got the Mike Ryan show coming in at 2:30 p.m. Pete will be on there as well. And we'll talk playoff. We'll talk plenty more. But appreciate everybody joining the show. Like and subscribe. Go Canes.